Welcome to part 2 of Elevation Summer Camp Leaders Training videos. In this session, we are going to cover things such as physical guidelines between leaders and campers, building relationships with campers, general guidelines for camps, as well as what the facility expects from us as leaders. We hope you find these videos informative and educational, and we look forward to a wonderful time this year. At Elevation Summer Camps, we want to make sure that both the campers and the leaders are not put in any compromising situations. And as such, we've put some specific guidelines in place to keep that from happening. So first, we're going to talk about group leader and camper physical guidelines. The rules regarding touching campers are touch only on the hand, shoulder, or upper back. Touch only in the company of other adults. Never touch a camper against their will, except in case of immediate danger to them. Never touch a camper against their verbal or non-verbal expressed discomfort. Never touch a camper when it would have the effect of overstimulating a child. And never touch a camper in a place on their body that is normally covered by a bathing suit, unless for a clear medical necessity, and then only with supervision of another adult. Along these same lines, we also want to be concerned about privacy issues between group leaders and campers. So the following behaviors might be construed as intrusive or invasive and should be completely avoided. Number 1, embarrassing a child about his or her body. Number 2, drawing undue attention to a child while he or she is changing clothes or showering. Tickling, wrestling with, or otherwise touching a camper in a way that is overstimulating or invasive of his or her privacy. A group leader sharing personal information about his or her romantic or sexual life. Sitting on a group leader's lap. Getting into the same bed or sleeping bag with the camper, or inviting a camper into a group leader's bed or sleeping bag. And last, telling stories or engaging in conversation that is lurid or overstimulating. Well, those are some of the harder issues to deal with. Now let's talk about building relationships with the campers. There's a few things that you can do that can definitely make an impact on the campers that you are personally involved with. So relationship building with campers. Number 1, learn your campers' names. That will mean the world to some of them, and learn the names of other campers from other churches. Number 2, understand your campers. Many times they feel as if people don't listen to or understand them. Take the time to listen. Not only will you learn something, you will build someone. Number 3, be mindful of doing little things, i.e. eye contact, pats on the back, timely words of encouragement, noting positive points you see in their life. Any of those kind of issues would be great for campers. Number 4, be clear and explicit about what you expect. Set clear limits. Students often push or cross boundaries. Be firm and loving at the same time, like a piece of rebar coated in rabbit fur. Soft to the touch, but unbending in strength. Number 5, be a listener, not a lecturer. Allow the campers to be the experts. Draw them out with questions that begin with how, why, what, where, etc. Ask questions that require more than a yes or no answer. Number 6, be positive in attitude and action. Practice what you preach. Let your actions equal your words. Demonstrate Christ-like servanthood. Number 7, allow campers to save face. Be alert to potentially embarrassing situations and look for a way to resolve and address them with a minimum of embarrassment to the camper. And number 8, ask God for help, insight, discernment, and wisdom in relating to each of your campers. Pray daily for each of them. Here at Elevation Summer Camp, we've created a checklist that we think that everybody should be at for the end of the second day and through the week. So get your pens ready. Here's a checklist that we think you guys should be at by Tuesday afternoon. Number 1, do you know the names of all of your campers? That is the campers who are specifically under your care and usually in the cabin that you're stationed at. Number 2, do all your campers know each other's names? That's actually really important. Sometimes there's some campers that may feel out of place if and nobody knows their names. Number 3, has each camper made eye contact with you? Check that out. Be aware of that situation. Sometimes there's kids who aren't necessarily very good at making eye contact and may feel a little shy. Try to include them the best you can. Number 4, do you know each camper's favorite camp activity? That's actually a really good idea. I know most of them are probably going to say Neon Predator. Maybe that's not such a good idea. Has each camper made a new friend in his or her group? Boy, if you need to check, make sure that these campers are making friends, because if they don't make friends, it's going to be a very lonely experience for them at camp. Do you know at least one thing about each of your campers? Make it your goal to know that. Favorite TV character, sports team, hobby, pet, athlete, friend. Remember, campers learn best, try things more often, have more fun, and make more friends when they feel safe. So use this checklist, see how safe an environment you've made for your campers. Let's go over a set of general guidelines for camp, specifically concerning the dorms, the chapel, and the dining hall. First part, let's do the dorms. Number 1, girls and boys dorms are not to have members of the opposite sex inside. Dorm room windows are not to be used as exits. Campers are not allowed to hang out of the windows. That just sounds painful. Dorms should not be occupied without a group leader or staff member present. Both group leaders and campers must bring bedding, towels, and personal toilet items. And let me tell you, sometimes that's a little hard to get 12-year-old boys to remember their personal toiletry items. Just saying. Money should not be left unattended. The camp will not be responsible for lost or stolen money or other belongings. Permission must be given by a group leader for a camper to enter a cabin other than his or her own. Group leaders are responsible for enforcing the lights out policy set by the director. Group leaders should never be alone in a cabin with just one camper. Group leaders and campers are required to remain in their cabins each night following lights out until the designated morning wake-up time. Group leaders or campers may not, under any circumstance, rearrange the beds or bunks. The present arrangement is in accordance with fire laws. Chapel. The chapel should be occupied during classes, services, or supervised activities. Courtesy and respect for all speakers and leaders is expected. And musical and sound equipment is off limits for both group leaders and campers unless special permission is granted by the worship leader. Dining hall. Students are not allowed in the chapel or dining hall area earlier than 20 minutes prior to meals or service times. All group leaders and campers are to be in the dining hall for all meals. Campers must remain in the dining hall until dismissed. No exceptions. Campers will enter and exit the dining hall in an orderly manner. No food fights or other disorderly conduct is allowed. Do not allow campers to remove food from the dining hall. Improperly storing food poses a health risk for campers and staff and might possibly cause a major ant infestation. Treat the kitchen staff with respect. Say please and thank you. They make phenomenal food and do a great job. It is well worth your while to say please and thank you. Access to the kitchen is limited to the cooking staff with the exception of the KP crew and or a designated staff area. And coffee is off limits to students before meals are served. The camp staff puts that out for courtesy to the adults. Please make sure your students are not taking the coffee until meals are served. At Elevation Summer Camps, we've also set up a few rules that we think are there to help students and leaders stay safe. These are kind of like the 10 Commandments. They're not there to be a killjoy. They're there to make sure that everybody stays safe. So number 1 of the campus rules, campers may not use the phone without permission. And frankly, there's not a very good cell service up there anyway, so it's probably kind of hard to use it. Shoes must be worn at all times, except when swimming, of course, though they may be needed depending on where we go. It's very important. We're in the mountains. There are plenty of rocks, there are plenty of insects, and sometimes snakes. No personal electronic devices. This includes tablets, gaming devices, iPods, cell phones. None of that is allowed at camp. So to keep our camp safe, we don't want to send anyone home wounded, so absolutely no wrist rockets, pocket knives, guns, toys are real, laser pointers, or any item that might pose accidental injury to another camper will be allowed. There will be no rock throwing. Again, this is something that's kind of hard when it's a 7th grader who wants to throw rocks into the creek. But no, none of that is allowed. Campers are not allowed in the vicinity of the first aid station unless they are sick or injured. Any camper injured or sick must report to the camp nurse or EMT immediately. All campers must attend all services, all activities, and all meals. All campers must stay within the boundaries of the campgrounds.